All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's a new week. We took last week off, but Post to Post has returned. It is me, Will, one half of the Brothers of Discussion. Grayson will be back at some point, but he's still doing baby daddy stuff. So when he gets back, he'll be back. Until then, it's me, and I'm trying to bring some people in to chit-chat with, because we all know John and everybody are pretty busy, but we're also trying to spread out the love and get some more people in, get some fresh topics. So with that, I decided to dig way down, go back in time, spin through the Rolodex of people that I've met through all sorts of avenues and channels, and surprisingly enough, we go all the way back through the G.I. Joe days. I've got the chosen one, Patric Arnold, here with us this afternoon. Patric, how are you?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
For those
we've known each other for quite a long time.
Oh yeah, quite a while. Jesus, did we meet? Was it on Yo Joe or His Tank or one of those places? I forget which one.
Oh, definitely one. It was probably His Tank.
Yeah, I know. I've been around for a hot minute on most of them. I don't go to many of the forums anymore because honestly, as much as I love them to death, the forum format has kind of died.
I agree. I used to be heavily into that, and now, yeah. And also, there's a lot of whining now.
Oh God, so much. It's one of those things. You can please some of the people, all the time, but can't please all the people all the time, or something like that. I forget the exact saying, but it more often than not, they crying about something.
Well, yeah, but I mean, sometimes they actually give them what they want.
I know.
And then they still cry about it. And it's like,
I know.
Can you ever just be happy?
I'm just like, look, I mean, sure, I'm upset, but I'm not going to go whine and bitch and moan the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
The classified line, I'm super happy, but some people are like, oh, G.I. Joe should only be 3 3/4. I'm just like, no.
I said I would get into it if and when they made a Flint and Lady J, and they did, so I did.
So far, I have all of it that they've released classified-wise. The only things I haven't gotten immediately right now, just because I haven't come across them or my pre-orders haven't shipped, are the Alley Viper Bat and the Redeco Gung-Ho.
I don't like to complain a lot about the classified line because I'm happy about anything that we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a long spell, new G.I. Joe stuff was practically non-existent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm happy to get anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think the 6-inch lines turned out really well. And
I agree. They've got the right amount of modernization while still keeping the classic look without pandering too much to people that can't accept change.
And there's a number of companies that have popped up to support that with weapons, and then the Valverse came out with the Sergeant Slaughter, which was really awesome.
Yep,
Love that figure to death.
I've got one, pre-ordered it. I'll keep my opinions on the people behind that line to myself, but as far as most things go, I like it. I'm probably going to tear that figure down and improve upon it, because I don't like how it's kitted out, but the head sculpt is just cheesy, cartoony enough for me to dig. But I don't care much for the waist up. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, I would have rather gotten an actual, true G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter, but considering that everything in the classified line is slightly, reinvented, rethought out, it's not too bad.
No.
Yeah, I've heard that people have different opinions on Valverse, and that's fine. I've just bought their guns and their the little bullet things that shoot out, that the orange.
Oh, the blast effects.
The blast effects, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, and I bought the weapons, and then I bought the Sergeant Slaughter, so.
Or the equivalent.
It's an interesting time to be a G.I. Joe fan, I think.
I know. I think we're in for a modern renaissance. They're back. They're proprietary.
This is a post-to-post wrestling
I mean,
podcast.
Falcon knows we go on tangents, and we talk about Sergeant Slaughter, so that's wrestling adjacent.
There you go. There you go. I like that thought.
And I mean, if we really wanted to get down into it, I mean, Roddy Piper was part of Iron Grenadiers, so we can go that far as well. But one last thing, toy related, or actually we can hang out for a minute, because I know you've purchased a few of my custom works in the past. Did you happen to scoop up the special Ultimate Edition Slaughter over the summer that Mattel put out?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was a nice one. It's like they put him in like one of those nice like boxes with the opening front lid.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to scoop them up, but they sold out right away.
I managed to buy 2 of them, one for me and then one for a buddy of mine that I knew needed one. Because I was on there as soon as they popped up, and I was like, boom, boom, bought 2. All right, cool. And other than the fact, and this is with every Mattel Slaughter they put out, he got spindly legs. They never give him a robust enough leg set. It's always kind of skinny, but it is a solid figure. Solid.
It looked really solid. I was really happy with it, but it sold out within, I think, under 5 minutes. So
It sold out real fast.
Yeah.
Real fast. As fast as if you saw them through Walmart, the Masters of the WWE Universe figures. The Sergeant Slaughter from that line sold out so fast. So fast. I had to go
also
through.
the Mattel site, or the ordering site for these Slaughter had issues too, where people weren't able to get in, and they had them in the cart, but then it wouldn't process to fully to buy it and everything. So
Yeah, it's like right before it came out, they switched over to Mattel Creations as opposed to the old Mattel site. So they created a whole new site just for like their convention exclusives and special like short run figures and things. And I found that out because I started like looking into it days before, and I was like, okay, cool. And so I went ahead and got all of my stuff set up on that website like 3 days, 4 days in advance. So when it was time, I was just like, all right, log in, ticky, F5, 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 2, checkout done.
nice.
Yeah, it's like if you ever, I don't know anyone that listens that does any of the toy stuff, but if you ever went to Hasbro Toy Shop San Diego Comic-Con drop days, you know the routine of the F5 and the quick draw. And that's how I cut my teeth, and I got pretty good at it. Didn't always get what I wanted, but I got a lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is super boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We can come back around to toy talk a little bit later, because I know we've got a couple irons in the fire that I definitely want to dive back into when we go to really putting you over here a little bit. But I guess we'll get into what everyone sort of probably tunes into, unless they're tuning in just to laugh at us, because we make fools of ourselves. But hey, if you can't make fun of yourself, who can't you make fun of?
Good content.
We'll talk about wrestling.
Wrestling.
This is good stuff. I know the big news right now, as of pretty much yesterday and today, is the whole kerfuffle over Cody. Good God. I mean, we all knew that his contract ran out end of the year, or end of last year, or into beginning of this year. He'd been in free agent status since then, and now apparently like they've sent out all the press dockets and like Twitter posts saying he's dipped. Him and Brandy are gone from AEW. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't get it, because first of all this time they should have been working on a deal, but other than him stepping away to maybe be a father, I don't see him really in Impact Wrestling. As being a new father, I don't think he'll go over to Japan.
No.
And I don't see him back in WWE, so I'm not sure what the play is. That's my confusing thing is, okay, so he's out of AEW, but what's next?
Yeah, I am kind of on the same mindset and track that you're thinking right there with him being a new father. Sure, you got to pay the bills, but at the same time, one, I don't see him in Impact. Two, why would he go back to WWE after more or less all the shit he's talked about it for years now? It just for
he had the actual hammer or sledgehammer and destroyed the throne, and he's done everything he can to throw it in WWE's face. So, but on the other hand, WWE would probably give him the money. That would be a secure future, and that's kind of why Kevin Owens is still in WWE, because he wants to provide for his family. So,
yeah, I think that would be the only impetus that I could see. But at the same time, I'm just like, Cody, you could just switch over to a pure VP role and not perform and still make bank. I mean, he's only got, I think he's 3 or 4 years younger than I am. I mean, he said he was going to retire at 40 anyway, so he's only got 6 more years left in the game for himself. So, who knows? For me, if he goes back to WWE after all this, I'll probably lose some respect for him. I'll be like, why'd you go crawling back to them after you just griped and moaned about how bad they treated you, and then you took out all those frustrations in effigy as soon as you helped create AEW? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But
from WWE's standpoint, I think they would get we signed someone away from AEW.
Yeah, they would do that in a heartbeat. That's the only reason why.
But I think that Cody would just get lost in the shuffle again.
Oh, they
probably have a couple, really good matches, maybe to begin with, but then they'd lose interest in him, and he would just get buried. I mean, look at going back to Kevin Owens, look at what they do with him all the time.
I know.
He gets the occasional great storyline, and he performs really well, probably one of the best workers in there, and then he gets buried again.
All the time. And that makes me sad about KO, because I was gone with all the Twitter and Instagram posts they were doing back and forth. He was doing back and forth with the Bucks back in the fall. I was ready for Mount Rushmore to come to AEW, but nope. The other thing, here's what I see happening more than anything. Everyone's been clamoring for Cody to turn heel for so long because they're sick of his way too goody-goody, almost harkening back to, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, goody-goody face Hulk Hogan. And people want him to turn heel for so long. What better way to do a heel turn than this faux, exit from the company and making it seem like he's in talks with the big bad of WWE? That would generate so much heat, And
that's true. They have been known to put out storylines that are well thought out. Several of the Jericho storylines were 2 years plus in the making. So it's very possible they do something like that. The other thing would be Switchblade just joined. Mm-hmm. So if he were to join and align with the Bullet Club against AEW and the Super Click, that would be another possible insertion.
I wouldn't be against it. I really wouldn't. But it just seems odd that he would leave also, since their next big pay-per-view is in less than a month.
I think the timing and the fact that all of a sudden he was constantly talking about how it was a handshake deal, like he was trying to force a storyline that, wasn't necessarily getting the buzz that he wanted it to. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping there's something behind it where it's all big work.
Yeah.
Because I don't see him going anywhere else. So
no, I mean,
like you say, why wouldn't you just offer him a position up top?
Yeah, I mean, he already had it.
Money's secure.
Yeah. So I see it more being a work and him coming back, just really leaning into the heel persona that everyone wants. The only positive that I have for this, before my last prediction of what could happen, the only positive is I don't have to see that smug-ass, egotistical entrance anymore.
Also, why would Brandy go? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if Brandy's gone, it doesn't bother me. She didn't do anything anyway.
No, but she was running the women's side of things for a while and things, so... But you would think that she would stay if he went, just 2 paychecks are better than 1, but...
Yeah.
What's your final prediction?
My final prediction is one I happened to see, and I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's actually a good idea. We know how Ring of Honor is supposedly doing a nice reboot in the late spring. What if, since he helped boot up AEW, what if he goes and helps reboot Ring of Honor?
Oh, I didn't think about that, but that would be...
And
so
then,
not really leaving AEW, more just, I'm going to take some time, help these guys out, and then, yeah.
And then that way you've got some nice inter-promotion camaraderie to where you can see both of them help each other get that much bigger. I think that would be better for the business as a whole in the long run. And he wasn't...
Forbidden Door has been wild.
Oh, it's been glorious. I mean, what's funny is the episode of our show that gets played the most every month is from this time last year when Impact's Hard to Kill hit, and it was all of the Forbidden Door matches between AEW, Impact, and New Japan.
Yeah.
That one right there, everyone for some reason has gone back to listen to that one. I was like, it's such an old episode, but it just really sold the fact that the Forbidden Door has been kicked down almost, and everyone's really seeing that things are better when they work together, with the exception of one place in particular, but they kind of sort of tried it, but shit the bed doing it.
But who would think that Impact Wrestling would be the stepchild everyone's fighting over?
I know, it's crazy.
That's good for them. They've had some really good matches, and
they've had a lot of good stuff.
Impact in general, I saw some things, and people had been telling me it's good, and I checked it out, and it's a really solid show. I've watched the last pay-per-view and the last 2 episodes of their show, and
if anything, Impact has been doing a great job about working with New Japan. An amazing job.
No surrender.
Oh, No Surrender? Okay. Cool. Speaking of, I said, No Surrender,
No Surrender is the one that's coming up.
Oh, God.
And just, I think this weekend or something, and then I'm on their site. Hard to Kill was the one that just happened.
Oh, okay. I thought there was another one in between Hard to Kill. Yeah, I watched Hard to Kill. It was great. It was super good.
And then No Surrender is just about to happen. February 19th, so this Saturday.
Okay, so this weekend. All right. Okay, so it's going up against Elimination Chamber, which is going to be kind of tricky for it, but I'm sure some people will watch them both. I will watch, hopefully, both of them as well, one way or the other. But
I'm a little soured on WWE, to be honest.
I mean, truly, I am. I only watch the bigger pay-per-views. I always watch the Royal Rumble. It is my favorite pay-per-view that they ever do. And, I mean, anyone that listens to the show knows how fucking disappointed I was about this year's Royal Rumble.
I watch the Royal Rumble every year because I know that Molly Holly will get her 15 seconds of fame, and she's just my favorite female wrestler.
They did her dirty this year, I thought.
Well, I was hoping it was going to set up, her in a one-off, return, and Nikki Ash and Molly Holly would battle, for up till the next pay-per-view, and then, but
no, didn't happen, sadly. That would have been a good one because that's the way it felt, but I still think that Molly should have had a little more time in the ring instead of getting almost immediately dumped in the dirtiest way possible.
Well, considering that we now have celebrities eliminating 2 people, Molly could have, gotten a little bit of that.
Yep.
And I love Sammy, but Sammy versus Johnny Knoxville, which is rumored for WrestleMania for the IC title, is a bit much to take in.
It's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. I mean, if they put the belt on Johnny, it's going to, for me, if it doesn't cause as much backlash as when WCW put the belt on David Arquette, which I thought was more believable than if they put a belt on Johnny Knoxville, I'll be kind of angry.
Exactly. And not anything knocking on Johnny, because Johnny is an amazing person.
Oh, yeah.
He's great, but he's a little past wrestling prime, and he just had that incident where he was filming the last movie, and he actually got brain damage.
Yeah, he got really wrecked. I can't remember exactly what the stunt was, but
he was doing something with the bull, and I think he got bucked, or the bull hit him or whatever, and he landed on his head or whatever, and then he had brain damage for a long time, and so it's even kind of scary that he's in the wrestling ring. I hope he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, with someone that's done that kind of stunt work for so long, I would almost guarantee he's probably picked up a few tricks.
I imagine, but then we have Bad Bunny in the ring, and he's eliminating people at the Rumble.
The one thing I will give Bad Bunny is he does look like he knows what he's doing for being someone so green.
He's put in the work. He's definitely put in the work, and I have mad respect about that. And it's actually nothing really against him. It's just against celebrities coming in and sort of taking over and suddenly being professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
But that's been an issue for a while, WCW, WWE, whatever.
Yeah, I'd say
Impact.
It's been... Yeah, Impact's done it too, but I'd say it's been more of an issue with WWE over the past decade or so, and they're really leaning into the entertainment portion of things, and to do that and get these big pops, they've really got to lean into bringing celebrities in to interact. I mean, they've been doing it since the 90s. I mean, we think of all the Mike Tyson stuff, the football teams that came in and did things, etc. and so on. So, I mean, they've been doing it for...
But also with Mike Tyson, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
And it's believable. He could break your neck or, knock you out, and, so, because he's done it. So.
Yeah.
And he's been someone's ear. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen with him. So that's believable. Bad Bunny, a little less. But, like I said, mad respect for what he's done. But that's why I like Impact. Yeah. Because they're focusing on the wrestling aspect of things. Actual good, down entertaining wrestling matches, and I miss that.
Yeah, for sure. And like we were talking about before, and this would be a lovely segue, one of the best people Impact's got right now, and possibly not anymore, Josh Alexander. Yeah,
Josh Alexander's contract ran out, and subsequently his visa ran out. So they had to write him off TV last week, send him home to think about what he's been doing in Impact Wrestling. So hopefully they can get that situated.
Yeah. If not, I could easily see AEW poaching Josh Alexander.
Well, I think anywhere that Josh Alexander goes, he would be a huge asset. But I don't understand how it got to where it got with Impact Wrestling. I can't believe the sides were so far away that they couldn't come to some even temporary contract to, see it over.
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling sometimes. I tried to figure it out. I can't because, I mean, from a monetary standpoint, for me, I'm just I would be is it good? Does it seem like a fair bump up? Sure. Do I need to make all the money on the planet? No. Am I getting paid a fair amount for the amount of rigor I put my body through? Am I getting the kind of exposure that I expect for what I did? That sort of stuff factored in. I mean, if it seems like I was during the year, which definitely seemed this was a banner year for Josh Alexander, I'd be like, fuck it. Throw on an extra 10-15% and I'll sign on the dotted line. Shit.
But then again, maybe that's where it all lies, is that he had, a stellar year, maybe one of his best years in his professional career, so maybe he's looking to cash in,
Yeah, I know. It's hard to know because, I mean, if I were in that position, I couldn't say that I wouldn't ask for a boatload of money, but at the same time, knowing the way that I am with most things, I'm like, am I making more than before? Cool. Okay.
And I think also you go to a company AEW is a little bit oversaturated right now, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know where you're going to end up. Impact right now seems to be treating him really well.
Yeah.
At least, from the on-camera aspects of things. We obviously don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but he's getting a lot of time. They're focusing on him. He's in major storylines, so that part of it seems really good.
Yeah. I couldn't see why. I mean, if he did wind up going to AEW, even though they are pretty saturated right now, the best spot I see them putting him is straight into working with Bryan Danielson, rather. Straight into working with him, because they both had that similar, hard-hitting,
would be amazing.
Traditional
I would pay
wrestling.
big bucks to see that.
Yeah, those two, I've said it before, if you want a, purest wrestling faction in AEW, minus the fact that it'll be nigh on impossible to get Jonathan Gresham at this moment, Bryan Danielson, of course, Daniel Garcia, Layla Hirsch, and then if this Josh Alexander rumor, which is pure speculation and fandom right here, those four right there, it'd be great.
But if you put Josh Alexander versus Bryan Danielson on a pay-per-view, that's pretty much going to guarantee I'm ordering that pay-per-view, because that's a match I have to see.
You're going to print money.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. You'll print money. But yeah, I could see them in a faction together. Maybe they come out and he gets an interview, which is an in-ring brawl with, Danielson, much the way he made Hangman earn his fight, more or less, when he ran through the Dark Order. I could see him, interviewing Josh Alexander in a very, very stiff, classic wrestling match. And I don't think even Jim Cornette could say something bad about a match like that. I know I couldn't.
I wouldn't say anything bad about it. I mean, it's just, that's one of your dream matches,
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if he doesn't come full time, even if it turns into one of those factions that works back and forth across the promotions, like NWO did back in the day with WCW and NWO Japan, I could see that being something that works, kind of like the Elite did for a little while with the Good Brothers in Impact, and then everyone else in AEW. I feel like it would be a pretty good idea for something like that. Build some more goodwill between the companies.
Speaking of part-timers, I'm really interested, especially since the deal went down at the last minute, to see what happens with Jay White and AEW.
Oh, I know. It's he showed up. What was it? Wednesday, right? That deal was inked the Sunday prior, because even Tony Khan admits, he's like, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah, I used the word forbidden door, but then it really wasn't. So I needed to do something, and this was something we had been kind of I think he said discussing or something, and then the deal actually got done that Sunday. So,
and I'm a big fan of Jay White. I really am. I need to eventually break down and make a Jay White figure. It's I sculpted a head for him a long time ago, and I've sold a few of those casts, but I need to actually make one for myself at some point. I just never do.
And we have the whole Adam Cole brought in the, what is it, Red Dragons?
Red Dragon. Yeah.
Red Dragons. And then that was into, with the Young Bucks approval. And now he's brought in Jay White, and that's not with the Young Bucks approval. Yeah. So
I was just super stoked last week when he's like, we made an oath when we joined Bullet Club, it's for life. And I was just like, oh, he said it. I was so happy. And
I don't know how much you follow it, but there's also legit beef between the Bullet Club and the Super Click. So,
oh yeah, there's been beef between them for a hot minute.
Well, they don't going back to they didn't like the Young Bucks when they were originally in the Bullet Club, and how they handled things and went about their business. So. And that's
it's what I remember is the big thing that caused the riff back in the day was when the Bucks and Kenny created the Elite inside of Bullet Club, and they started acting like they were better than the rest of the crew. That's when it all.
Well, yeah, if you call yourself the elite, that means everyone else is subpar below that. You know? So I could see taking offense to that, and they've gone back and forth. The Good Brothers were actually under fire for a while because they were hanging out with the Super Click, and the Bullet Club was taking shots at them. They're like, hey, Super Click are our friends, the Bullet Club are our friends. We're just, we're chilling. We don't want to be in the middle of this.
Yep. I would love to see them bury the hatchet and just, reform an almost like super rendition of Bullet Club again. Because, I mean, as much as I love Bullet Club and it is still one of the best factions out there, it's nowhere near what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. I totally agree, and I think they've got some good members in there right now.
Oh yeah,
May, I think was a solid addition.
Yeah, I agree.
Club. I'm pretty happy with him. And
El Phantasmo is still one of my current favorite members of Bullet Club right now.
Yep.
I love how smarmy he is. It's marvelous. And then at Wrestle Kingdom, the jacket he wore out with Robbie Eagle sucks running across the shoulders and light up letters. I was just like, man, I love it.
And then you got the Grills of Destiny. They're always solid no matter what.
Oh, yeah. Them performing on Impact lately. Oh.
Do you think they take the titles from the Good Brothers?
If they do, I want to see that as the burying of the hatchet between the two.
That would be nice. Actually, if you think about it, what's going on between AEW and Impact, they could form the Ultimate Bullet Club right now.
God, they could. It would be so good. I mean, so good. Like,
do you think that Jay White's more likely to align himself with Adam Cole and form some kind of Bullet Club and turn on the Young Bucks, or do you think your hopeful plan that they'll all come together as the Ultimate is more likely?
I would say my dream is the least likely option. The main thing which could happen, I actually consider a number 2. I think Jay White's going to play them both.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, because, I mean, if it's one thing that Jay is, he's pretty cerebral with the way he runs stuff. Because, I mean, he stabbed Kenny in the back when Kenny offered him Bullet Club membership way back at New Year's Dash in, what was that, 2018, 17 or 18? Then he joined Chaos. And he wrestled with Chaos for a while. And then soon as things were getting close, he stabbed them in the back and went Bullet Club. As if he had been Bullet Club the whole time, working as like a double agent. It was beautiful. Because his character fit Bullet Club so well. The only thing about it is, ever since he's been in Bullet Club, it also seems like he's not in Bullet Club. Because he hasn't gone like fully like decked out in Bullet Club gear. He's always pitching his King Switch, Jay White stuff more than Bullet Club stuff.
Yeah.
He hasn't, for lack of a better phrase.
Like Hogan back in the day. Yeah. Hogan always wore the Hogan gear and not the, NWO gear for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have the T-shirt every once in a while, but that, most of the time it was the Hollywood gear.
Well, I guess he had NWO on his boots, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I see is Jay's got always got a plan, and I see more of him playing both of them against each other more than anything
what
else.
A time though, because now Bullet Club and everything that happens with Bullet Club is between at least 3 companies right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you'll see Bullet Club matches now. We're going to get to see them on AEW. We're going to get to see Bullet Club matches on Impact. We're going to get to see Bullet Club matches on New Japan Strong. And then if we consider that a separate entity, we'll see Bullet Club matches on New Japan proper.
Yeah, and what happens on those shows is going to affect the whole storyline of Bullet Club, for the other show. So
yeah,
it's going to be pretty amazing.
It's going to be pretty solid. Now, before we go too far, how big's your Bullet Club collection now?
How big is my Bullet Club? It's getting there. Just got recently the Stephen Amell figure.
Oh, nice.
And it's getting pretty solid. I've been working on the NWO first because I want to get that completed. But then my Bullet Club's it's getting pretty close. Trying to add a couple figures as much as I can here and there.
Mm-hmm.
The NWO Japan are the current figures I have in the works.
Very
that's
nice.
going to be exciting.
All right, so you're going to go for like Muda and Tenzan and a couple others.
Yep. My eventual goal is to have every NWO and every Bullet Club member, so
man,
massive undertaking. But
that NWO shelf's going to take up an entire room on its own.
yeah, so far it's gotten one entire display case shelf, and it's leaking pretty heavily onto the second one now. So,
yeah, I've got Bullet Club wise right now. I haven't done too many more. It's like I've got a Bullet Club Adam Cole made for myself. I just need to do some touch up paint, fix and apply the decals and make the boot tassels, and I'll have my bucks done. My Bullet Club bucks, but they've been on the back burner for a while. I need to finish articulating the hands on my Carl Anderson, and my Good Brothers will be done. And then other than that, I need to make, all I've got is my Prince Devitt that I made a long time ago. So I still need to make Cody and Kenny. I still need to make the GOD, stuff like that. I got a fistful.
I hope that at some point Prince Devitt, a.k.a. Finn Balor, leaves WWE and...
I mean, they just keep... I say it a lot. It's just a phrase that works too well. To me, I feel like they just keep shitting on him. Every time he gets a push, they are just like, I don't like it anymore. Dump him.
Yeah, there's guys like Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Finn Balor that, occasionally they get this really big push and you're like, oh my gosh, they actually pulled the trigger. This is it. And then swap. They go back to being buried. And you're like, why? Why do you tease me like that?
I know. I want him to dip out and just go back. I mean, if he's been smart with his money, which just the way like his Instagram seems to run, he could easily go to another company and ride cushy for quite some time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he'd fit in well in AEW, Impact, go back to Japan. I mean, he has lots of options, and he's highly sought after. So
yeah, if he went back to Japan, like he'd be back in Bullet Club in an instant. They wouldn't even bat an eye, because he may have left, but he founded Bullet Club. So
exactly,
without him and bad luck, there is no Bullet Club. So if he came back, he could instantly take his club back over.
Yeah, if he came back to Impact, I think. Or not back to Impact, but if he went to Impact, it's a little bit of a downgrade. I mean, I love Impact, but they need that TV deal,
They really do. It's like they're on Access TV, but they could really benefit from...
Well, where they got screwed over is they had Ring of Honor and Impact on the same channel. Yeah. And Ring of Honor put on some stinker shows during that time, and I think that killed any people wanting wrestling on their show. So now they're stuck with Access TV, and it's just not a good deal. And I watch it mostly on their Impact Plus because I don't even think I get Access TV. So
yeah,
and they got banned from Twitch recently. So
Impact did, or?
Yeah, they had a steamy scene that apparently got them in hot water with Twitch. So.
Oh, my! I was unaware. It seems I mean, like we said, like, there's a lot of good stuff going on right now, wrestling-wise, and I'm super stoked about what's coming. Like, the speculation of what could happen is, like, it's rife. Like, we have no idea what's going on and what could happen. This is the best time for playing guess what of any time.
Oh, this is the best time to be a wrestling podcast host because, I mean, there's so much what if in AEW, so much what if in Impact Wrestling right now, you know? Mm-hmm. So
there's so much good stuff. And, like, and I'll say it again, since so many companies are willing to work together now, I'm even happier. I mean, I was happy to see that Killer Cross is doing an MLW show.
Yeah, there's a lot of independent programs that are really doing good. GCW, I've just recently come across them because Jeff Jarrett went to there and is wrestling for them, and that's an amazing promotion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like give it shit because it's the home of Nick Gage, but other than that, they're kind of hard edge. Like, they've been doing nothing but pulling in numbers for what they are for a while now.
Some of those death matches are hard to watch, though. I was watching one the other day, a couple weeks ago, and they actually legitimately busted 2 arteries during the match. They had to actually stop it, wrap up his arm to stop the bleeding as much as they could, and then continue on the match. So, yeah, it was pretty nasty. But aside from death matches, they just have a lot of really talented people there that are putting on really good matches, and they're a welcoming community for a lot of different people in the world. So it's good.
Oh yeah, I've been super stoked. I need to find more of it to watch because I mean it's just been solid stuff all around. Solid stuff.
So, what do you make of this Ali situation? WWE proposed to Ali a program which was apparently racist to Ali. Ali wanted to get released. They said, you got 2.5 years on your contract. We're not going to release you. In my opinion, as I said on my Instagram, the reason not to release them would be to try to use that time to make everything better, not to just leave them 2.5 years and do nothing with them. And yet they released all this incredibly talented people, and your line in the sand is Ali. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. My only thoughts really would be just the fact that him being Middle Eastern is a way for them to kind of work that angle with Saudi Arabia some more.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true.
It just seems like they're treating him more as a bargaining chip for something else than actually using him in a way that would benefit both him and the company.
He's had a couple of gimmicks that I thought were really solid. He had that kind of fake Sub-Zero look where he had the lights that came on and everything, and the hand light and all that. I thought. Where he
was kind of like almost Iron Man like.
Yeah, kind of Sub-Zero and Iron Man had a kid together, and
And then the Retribution was a pretty, if I remember the name right, was a pretty solid idea where they were like those weird like hackers and everything. Like, if they had actually let that idea properly germinate and run with it, I think
everybody was mad about that. I'm like, no, this is a huge thing for Ali. He could really get over with this, because they're actually putting him in a great angle, and then like a week later, the whole angle was canned, and I'm like, blew such a huge opportunity, because I really thought that was his time to finally shine as a leader of a group.
It had ludicrous amounts of potential, but then but it was an old catchphrase from the show. Is like, if WWE does anything and then they do something stupid, I'm like, well, what they were doing before made sense. That's why they changed it.
Well, WWE, Vince McMahon, he gets so hot and cold on things,
God,
He's, like,
he
really
is a
hot on something,
mercurial
and for
individual.
2 weeks, it's the biggest thing going on in WWE, and then he wakes up and he's like, and he loses interest, and then it's buried, and you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah, he is, as I just said, he's very mercurial. He is not the most even-keeled individual. And when you're that old and still looking that sort of yoked, I can kind of see what's causing it.
Yeah.
The writing's on the wall there. But yeah, I just, the hardest thing with this, there's only two things that are hard to speculate on. One, the logic or any sort of thought process behind whatever the fuck WWE's doing half the time. It's nigh on impossible to figure out. And two, really trying to figure out New Japan, because they have thrown me more curveballs than anyone else when it comes to trying to predict their events when it's one of their bigger shows. Oh, they always manage to trip me up. I think something's a surefire win. They love throwing some damn curveballs out. I love it. That makes me happy. If I can't predict what's going on, I mean, part of me gets upset because, hey, I couldn't guess it, but the other part of me is like, yeah, thanks for keeping me on my toes.
Unpredictability is good if it's done right, which in the case of New Japan is done right.
Yep.
But in the case of WWE, even the employees and the people who work there say half the time they don't know what's going on because Vince gets hot on an idea, then gets cold on an idea, or, the 5 minutes before the show, everything was scrapped and completely rewritten. And, and then, like, at the Royal Rumble, you had Shane going out there trying to promote himself, put himself over instead of, the best for the company. So, and
then Shane gets fired, which is crazy.
It's crazy, but from what I hear, he really did kind of have it coming.
Yeah. He fucked over a lot of people, and there was a ton of heat. So, I mean, it makes sense, but I'm still amazed to hear that,
he was supposed to have a big match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like they already cut that shit. Like, it has been redone. Shane has been written off completely. Like, if he ever comes back, it'll just be in the crowd.
Well, apparently he was trying to put himself as late as he could in the card and tried to get over eliminating as many people as he could, and and then he wanted Seth Rollins in there, which made no sense. So,
it just, I don't know. This year's Rumble, just circling back, it made me sad.
To get to your point, is what I'm trying to say is WWE does it the wrong way, but New Japan Wrestling really has been doing it the right way. Surprises that make sense, that keep you on your toes, and you're like, oh yeah, I got this figured out. And nope. Guess what?
I know. I love New Japan to death. It's one of the few wrestling streaming services that I own. And
really, I'm going away from the WWE aspect of things and going into more, the other promotions. Like I said, GCW, I've been watching them. Impact Wrestling, I've been watching. I'm thinking about getting into NWA because they've gotten some great things going on. Oh,
yeah. I'm glad they've got a free show on YouTube again. I need to start watching it. After they had that little mishap, due to COVID, and they went to where, like, they had that weird fucking subscription service for a while where it was like $10 a month, and it was basically just paying $10 a month for what you got for free before. That kind of soured me a little bit. But
exactly. Like, it's kind of greedy, but
he needed to make the money because, that is a small-time operation that Billy Corgan legit just funds 100% out of his pocket. But
they've got some good stuff going on, and I've been thinking about taking the leap on Fight TV and, checking them out just to see, give it a couple months.
Yeah. I've heard good things, and that's another thing that I did forget about is if Cody's playing up this angle right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go and challenge Cardona for the 10 pounds of gold.
Well, that's definitely true. Cardona's all over the place right now.
Oh, God. He is. It's the Cardona-sance. right now.
Yeah, he's in Impact Wrestling as the media champion. He's in GCW right now. He's in he's in NWA. He's all over the place. Every time I tune in something, he's won another belt or just had a big match. And
oh yeah, he has been going hella hard. I am truly surprised. Like, they let him go over Trevor Murdoch, because that angle with Trevor Murdoch against Nick Aldis was gold.
And they have really, really been building up Murdoch as the ultimate
every
wrestler and the ultimate champion. And they spent a lot of time, a lot of investment, in that. So I was surprised.
I feel like part of it's not because, they don't trust Murdoch. I think what it is they probably talked with Murdoch and they're like, hey, this right here is going to get a shitload of eyes on the product if we have Cardona go over. Because, he's got all of that social media and internet presence with his podcast, with all the other promotions he's been working at and winning titles with, etc. If anything, it's a smart move for them to put that belt on him and then see him pop up at all these other places with that belt.
That's why I think people are putting belts on him right now, because it's getting eyes on them, and the other promotions he's in, they're watching, and it's a smart move, definitely.
I agree, because if it's one thing that, and this, I actually got him to respond back to me and get kind of grumpy with me a few times. Nick Aldis, if it's one thing that I hated about when his title runs, he didn't do a fucking thing while he was the champ. Nothing. Like, you're supposed to, like, it's the 10 pounds of gold. Sweet Charlotte. You're supposed to fucking go places and defend that thing. All he did was talk big and never went anywhere with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, I can't count the times I called him out for that on his social media posts, and like a few times I got him to react back. I was like, I got you finally. But
yeah, if you're the champion, you got to go and you got to defend that title. That's just the way it is, and you go to other territories and other shows and put it over. Especially with NWA, because they need help getting the eyes on them to get on the map again, back to the former glory that they've had, and I think they're working toward it, and I really think they could be in the future a legit, option. But and they've got some solid people working for them, some solid matches. I'm really impressed. Like I said, I'm thinking about diving into the package, just at least for a couple weeks, to see everything that's going on and really give it a chance.
I've been meaning to at least catch the YouTube show again, because I remember Power on the early episodes of Power on YouTube were just amazing. I fucking loved it. That retro feel was great. I need to dive back into their new free show, which I'm not sure if it's Power again or another one. And then I told myself, I was like, I need to at least every once in a while buy one of their pay-per-views. If I don't subscribe to watch the weekly show, I need to at least, rent the pay-per-view and see what's what. It's a $20 pay-per-view. They have one every few months. What harm could come from it?
Oh, exactly. And they have the Crockett Cup that's going on now.
Oh, I'll definitely be buying that, because this year's Crockett Cup has a lot of potential, because look at it this way. Haven't heard much out of the Briscoes since their recent match at GCW. I guarantee you the Briscoes are going to be in the Crockett Cup. We already know some of the NWA tag teams are going to be there. We know that the Rock and Roll Express will be there because it's their big farewell
British Invasion.
Tour. Yep, the British Invasion's going to be in it. If Tony Khan is smart, he'll send some of his better tag teams to the Crockett Cup.
That would be a smart move.
Because he did let some women go over and compete in the Empowered event back in the fall, which was really good. The all-women pay-per-view that NWA put on was super good. Very, very solid stuff. But that would be a smart move for him. Impact, if they sent some people over, since they've got that goodwill with Cardona, etc. now, there's so many good tag teams you could get things going with. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't work an angle to get some of the New Japan tag teams on it. Make it a real worldwide affair.
But you forgot to mention the most important part. Who's the officiator of the Crockett Cup? Yes, Jarrett.
Double J, so GCW.
Yeah, so no, but that's not really the most important part. But I'm a huge Jeff Jarrett fan. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I guess it's going on March 19th and 20th in Nashville. So
yeah. Yep. I mean, I am all for it. I will definitely try to get that pay-per-view because I want to see what comes of it. This is definitely the culmination of one of those things where every company could really build some karma points for one another just by participating.
And that's just being smart. Inter wrestling promotion is smart, especially with something like the Crockett Cup that's going to get a lot of eyes on it. Like you said, you haven't necessarily been watching, but you're going to watch this.
Yeah.
So you're going to have new eyes on it. So if you're AEW, Impact Wrestling, whatever, send your representatives because that's going to get some fresh eyes on you.
Yeah, and I've been to quite a few AEW shows over the past year, and me being from North Carolina originally, when I went home over the summer and visit, I caught the show in Charlotte for, Fight for the Fallen, I believe it was. I was at that Charlotte show where they brought David Crockett out, who is of the family who the Crockett Cup's namesake is all about. And then I went to Holiday Bash in Greensboro, and David Crockett was there, and they brought David Crockett into the ring, and Tony Khan said that they're definitely going to work out some sort of relationship with Crockett. So my thoughts there is, now that the Crockett Cup's happening this year, and it's still his namesake, I would wager that Crockett has some slight pull, and then that would be a good way to start this working relationship with Crockett.
Absolutely. And I've heard nothing but good things from people who've gone to AEW shows about how amazing it is, what a good time they've had.
Oh yeah, I've been to
the amount of talent that's available to people, and
I've been to 4 total, 3 in the past year. I went to the very first Dynamite here in DC. I went to the one in Charlotte over the summer, the one in Greensboro just back in December, and then I went to Rampage here in DC a couple weeks ago. And they put on a great show. They work the crowd real well. You get tons of matches for your money. Tons of matches.
Because aren't they filming for their YouTube also?
Yeah, they're filming Dark and Darker and everything during that. Yeah, so you get
also for the Crockett Cup. Looking on their site, it's Nick Aldis versus Matt Cardona. So
Aldis versus Cardona.
Yep, Aldis versus Cardona for the title.
Man,
so that's gonna be huge.
That is gonna be interesting. That must be a night 2 thing, because I mean, Aldis is in a tag team already.
Yeah, it doesn't say it, but it must be.
Yeah, because unless he's working double dealing, I really don't want him to put that belt back on Aldis so soon. Cardona needs to carry it a little bit longer, for sure. That'll be a match that people want to see. Yeah.
So NWA is doing good things. Basically, everyone not named WWE is really doing hot things that are interesting me right now.
No doubt. I am right there with you. If you're not WWE, you've got my eyeballs. If you're WWE, you've got nothing but some paper in my toilet bowl to look forward to. But
yeah, it's just WWE has all the talent in the world, and they've released all the talent in the world, and they're just not doing anything with them.
Yeah.
It's the same guys, and that's what a lot of people, especially former employees, have been talking about, is they really haven't built the next superstars up.
No, they have not. They've rested on their laurels and run on what made them money in the past, but not what can continue making them money.
Which led them to completely panic and then take everything that was good about NXT and completely reshuffle it and redo it into what we have today.
Yeah. It's like, it's still good, but it's running on the fumes of what was good before. Give it another year and a half, it'll be dog shit.
I thought it was funny that there was a meme that came out not too long ago talking about during the WWE phone conference that they had made the most money that they've made so far in the history of WWE, but also they released all that talent that freed up that money.
Yeah,
so
that's the only reason they made that money.
Exactly. It's not that the product is so good, which is what everyone's claiming and that everyone's watching. It's that they released a crap ton of people that were making a lot of money. Now they're making a profit.
You release some multi-million-dollar salaries and some upper, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year salaries. Yeah, you're going to have a year that looks really good on paper, and that's the Nick Khan way. He's the Khan that's not good. He's the Khan man, not lover of wrestling that is Tony Khan. So it's a weird thing. It's all perception, and WWE's putting on airs. But let's go ahead and segue over, because I know I've wanted to hear about some of this stuff because, like I said, we follow each other on Instagram, etc. I've seen all your posts. You live a very, I'll say, charmed and interesting life with all the dealings and things you're doing, all the many fingers, many hands, and many a sinister soup, as the monarch would say. So let's hear a little bit about this, because I know from things I've seen you post a lot about wrestling promotions that you are, what's the best, I'm going to say, associated with in some capacity. How about give everyone a little taste, little sampler of some of the things you've done in the independent scene of the industry?
Absolutely, because G.I. Joe's wrestling, we could talk for another 20 years and probably not be done with all that. They're great topics, but absolutely. Back in the day when Daphne and Bonnie Maxson, who is Radiant Reign, were involved with Shine Wrestling, I did a few things with them. I helped them get their first title, the women's title, and several promotions with them. And they were a really great group of people that they're based off of Florida. Mm-hmm. And they're along the lines of the WWN family with Shimmer and several things like that. And they've really done a lot for women's wrestling. If you're anybody probably in the women's wrestling scene, you've come through there at some point. So that was a really great, and I got to appear on an episode of Shine Wrestling to present my friend Radiant Reign with the commemorative Shine title, since she was the first Shine champion. She had been going through quite a bit. She had been in a car accident on Valentine's Day that almost cost her life. She was very lucky and fortunate. She was texting while driving, so never, ever do that. That's very horrible to do. And so we wanted to cheer her up, and we presented her with the commemorative Shine title. It was a really great moment. I got to be on there with Lexi Fife and several other people, and Daphne let me go backstage and hid me back there so that Rain didn't know I was there, and it was a really great surprise.
Very cool, very cool. So, what other sort of ins and outs did you participate in at Shine beyond, a little bit of talent relation and special presenter type of capacities?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And I've attended a lot of those shows. My friend Daphne got me always the VIP treatment. It was always great to go there and hang out and get to see all my friends, because I have a bunch of friends that were working at Shine at the time, and it was just, they always put on a great show. So I was really happy to be a part of that. And then, of course, my friend Daphne recently passed away.
Yeah, I saw that.
She had a really tough life. She suffered from bipolar, but then also she had a lot of concussions in her time in wrestling.
Yeah. So
because she was, of course, a very hardcore, very physical wrestler. And
was it a CTE type of thing, or?
Yes, CTE, okay. And the concussions made her bipolar worse.
Oh yeah.
And so she really suffered, and she really tried to do a lot of things. It got to the point where she did electroshock therapy, and for those who aren't familiar with that erases part of your brain.
It can. They I've been listening to a lot of things talking about that recently, as a matter of fact. And it is the safest it's ever been, and it's a lot better than the quackery of the early 1900s, the mid 1900s. But it's still...
Well, the problem is you don't get to choose.
No, you don't.
What's eliminated from your brain. So you could forget your mother and never know your mother again. I mean, you know, in the same way. So it's very risky, but she was very desperate at the time, and it worked out really well for her. But unfortunately, she suffered a stroke and was unable to further that, and so and it got to be too much, and she went live on Twitch, and it was a very horrible scene, and she ended up taking her life. So
that's unfortunate. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I getting her mixed up? Did she not do something for one of the bigger promotions back in the day as well?
Yes, she worked for TNA Wrestling.
Okay.
She was also not only Daphne, but she was also the governor, which was a take on Sarah Palin. And she looked exactly like her. It was amazing.
Yeah, I saw.
She actually pitched that idea to Vince Russo to wear the wig and wrestle as the governor. So her and Vince Russo came up with that idea, and that was a great idea. I have a signed card from her from that.
Very nice. Very nice. Like trading card, or just like... Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
I have lots of signed things from her because she and I were really good friends. So she sent me a lot of stuff from her career because she was excited that I was excited about that part of her life.
Well, I mean, it's always, unfortunate when you lose like someone close like that. But at the same time, it sounds like she had a pretty fun run there for a bit, if I'm not reading the situation wrong.
Oh yeah, she enjoyed wrestling very much. She actually during the Shine days thought she was going to be able to make a comeback, but she took a kick and got another concussion, and that was during training. It was an accidental thing. It wasn't anything purposeful or anything. It was just something that was unfortunate that happened. I'm also involved in Oos Wrestling.
I was about to actually mention that one.
Which is a Hawaiian wrestling company by my friend Radiant Rain and her husband, the Pineapple King, Aleki.
Every time I hear the Pineapple King, I love it. And I also think of the short but wonderful AEW stint of Pineapple Pete. I love it. But continue.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy too, and they've done some amazing shows. But of course, with the pandemic and everything, Hawaii has had some very strict rules about the 10-person. So, but they've been doing some birthday shows, trying to get some new content out there, and they team up once a year with an Alaska promotion. And they're going to be doing that upcoming. So that's completely crazy because it's freezing up there, and to go from Hawaii weather to Alaska weather is, yeah.
Oh, that is quite the difference. I've not been to either, but I'm going to equate it because I've been to at least these two. I've been to the swampy taint that is Florida, and I've been to the crispy cold that is Montreal. So I would equate those to being very similar, a change.
Exactly. That's like, and then it's worse than when I'm in winter here and I go to Florida to visit my sister. You know, it's instant change, but yeah, imagine extreme heat to extreme cold, and yeah, it's always a good show. They do some crazy things up there, and Oos Wrestling's got a Twitch channel. They try to keep up with their fans through that.
Excellent. Now, has Oos had any notable figures come through their doors and perform with them? Or is it still a pretty, like, low-key indie?
No. They've had Austin Aries came through and did a promotion. They're good friends with Austin Aries. The Undead Bride.
Not Rosemary, was it? The one from
Rosemary,
Impact?
yep.
Okay.
And Allison Kay.
Not bad.
Bonnie has lots of friends that are in wrestling, so they all make their ways through at certain times and fly into. Because I mean, you know, who wouldn't want to fly to Hawaii?
Yeah, who wouldn't want to take a mini vacay with a couple wrestling matches in between just to pop over to Hawaii? I mean,
exactly.
Sign me up. I mean,
exactly. Jimmy Havoc's been there.
Oh,
look at their site. Just
I miss Jimmy Havoc. I do. I'm sad that, you know, his addictions got the better of him. I miss seeing Jimmy Havoc perform.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Sue Young, that's who I was trying to think of.
Sue Young.
Yeah.
That's a pretty, like, a fair...
Sue Young was actually the women's champion for a while, the Unified Women's Champion.
Very cool. That they've had some pedigreed names roll through. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, you know, like everything, they're affected by the pandemic, and hopefully we are through the worst of it, and we can get some of these restrictions lifted and get back to some of our normal lives, or normal-ish, whatever the new normal will be, because you never quite go back to how it was. But
this right here, while it sucked, it at least has jump-started some sort of change. And whether it's for the better or worse, you know, we don't know right now. But at least something's happening. You know what I mean? It's mixed it up. It's made things, for better or worse, more interesting. And I believe things will get better. I don't believe it's going to move in a negative. Call me quasi-optimist, if you will.
I hope so. I think you're right. So, for this Alaska show, the Pineapple King Alecki is actually wrestling Cheeseburger, which is pretty
I fucking love Cheeseburger. That's amazing. Oh.
If you can call yourself Cheeseburger and get over as much as he has, that tells you what kind of performer you are.
I know. Cheeseburger is the man. And I honestly, everyone I've ever heard talk about working with Cheeseburger has said they love working with Cheeseburger. He just seems like the coolest dude. I've never heard a bad thing said about Cheeseburger. Now, again, before, this is the big one, the biggie big, the one that I think a lot of people will be super interested in, and I know quite a few people in my friend circles have heard of it. Whether they've seen it or not, I don't know. I haven't asked, but I do know they are aware of it. I know from, again, Instagram and ourselves being acquainted for so long, that you had some doings with The Price of Fame, the Ted DiBiase biopic / documentary.
Yes, the story of his redemption and the autobiography of Ted DiBiase. I found out about the project, I think, on just Kickstarter. And then, of course, I backed it because, it's Ted DiBiase, and I'm a huge Ted DiBiase fan, and I wanted to be a small part of that. And then it was at the point where it was getting closer to the end, and we wanted to make sure it got made. So I kicked in a little bit more money and then became an executive producer of the show. And Ted DiBiase was actually so happy that it got funded that he ended up actually calling me, and we had a wonderful conversation. And he invited me when I'm down there to hang out sometime. So.
Oh, very nice.
And he comes to Michigan apparently occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a few exchanges over Instagram about various things. I like to make fun of Virgil, so because Virgil will do anything for a few bucks.
Ah, good old Virgil.
So there's like a meme that's like free hugs, $5.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a Virgil move, all right.
So occasionally he just kind of laughs it off, like, okay, yeah, you're silly, but yeah, he's a really nice guy, one of the nicest people I've actually met, and just the whole story of how he became famous and it got to him, and he became full of himself and bought into the hype, and how he was able to turn that around and realize that there is a price for fame, and that sometimes that price is too much. And I was happy to see him in NXT a few months back.
Oh yeah, that was wonderful.
Line.
Wonderful.
That was really great though. And 70 years old, and he was still selling that bump like it was going out of style. Mm-hmm. Mad respect.
Oh, no doubt. So what sort of other little interesting tidbits can you tell us about that people wouldn't be able to really see that you might know of if they were to watch it?
Well, one of the cool things is that Ted DiBiase himself sent me a $1 million jacket.
Oh.
So that's hanging in my closet.
Like
very proud of that. Like
one of the entrance jackets?
Yeah, like he would have worn to the ring. He has a person that makes him up, especially for his grandkids and things who, have gotten excited about his career and things. And so, or when he does promotions now and he wears one because, we're all a little shaped differently once we get older.
Yeah.
We're not in the same wrestling shape because the wrestlers are in insane shape for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
That's, mad respect to them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So we'll call you the $1,000 man.
There you go. Ted DiBiase is a really great guy. Peter Ferrero, who's on that, who is the main person behind that project, is also an amazing person. We've talked a lot. He pitched a show to me about wrestling where you go back to major events that happened in wrestling and have people retell the story. The first story was by X-Pac. Unfortunately, we haven't really found any buyers for it, but that's always a back burner project. And then we've also talked about if there's a thing on Twitch where you can have watch parties.
Yeah.
You sign up for Amazon Prime, which I'm already a member of, and then they give you certain movies that you can show. And unfortunately, most of the stuff I've been in or worked with isn't on there, but the Price of Fame is. And he's actually talked about or showed interest in wanting to come on and have us show that and promote it. So I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, either on Facebook or Instagram, just hit me up. I'd be down. I could probably get some of the other guys in too.
Excellent.
Yeah, just gotta name a time and a place, and if it works with the schedule, I'm in there like swimwear.
Yeah, that's it's going to be the thing now to just kind of narrow down a time and a place where everyone's available and we can do a showing. It's such a powerful film. It really moved me. I've shown it to everybody that will sit down and watch it with me and my family and friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when I first saw it, when you were first hyping it up and seeing, DiBiase's posts about it as well, because they come through the algorithm every so often. I was like, I need to catch that. And then, it finally showed up. And I just still, sadly, haven't watched it again because I haven't found a minute to where I've just, it's been on my mind fresh. And just hey, I need to watch this. Maybe that'll happen this weekend. Who knows? It depends. But having this conversation between the two of us fresh in my mind lends it a fighting chance. Either this weekend or coming up.
Well, maybe it's meant to be. Maybe you never watched it because maybe one of the first times you watch it is with me. So,
hey, that is also true. That could even make it better. Who knows? Going in there with fresh eyes, you'll never top the first time you see something. So,
now, have you ever heard of the Headlock comics?
It sounds mildly familiar, probably through posts of your own, but I'm not going to say yes.
That's something that Michael Kingston has created, and Jerry the King Lawler does all the art covers for it.
Oh, interesting.
And he's been a huge part of that, and he's done a bunch of cons, and every time he does a con, it's completely amazing because he has an all-star lineup of people. And actually, he was at, I want to say, San Diego Comic-Con, and Sting made his way over there and checked it out because he had heard so much about it, and he wanted to see it for himself. And so there's a picture of Sting at the booth just checking out the overall thing. But it's a wrestling comic, and it's not your typical wrestling comic because it's actually a wrestling comic done well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of wrestling comics are, I hate to say it, but poorly done. And
yeah, I mean, the most recent wrestling comic I've seen that was done well is the Jim Cornette Behind the Curtain graphic novel.
Oh, okay. And this one has, in every book, different stories that are... there's a main story that's been going on for a while, and it just kind of reset, and we're starting into the next new storyline. But there are stories told by actual wrestlers that from their days, and there's also a separate thing called Tales from the Road, which is done by the same company, and their stories from actual wrestlers. A who's who of you name them, they probably had a Headlock comic story told in there.
Very cool. Yeah, it sounds kind of similar to Cornette's book. I forget the company that did the illustration and everything, but it's just Cornette, as you know, is a historian for wrestling, and he, in this graphic novel, collected many big stories from the history of wrestling and retold them in comic book format. And it's a lovely book. If you find it, pick it up. It's quite good. It's just I want to find a copy of Shivani's Butts and Seats and see how that is.
Oh, I've seen that, and I'm definitely interested in getting a copy and checking it out to see what it's all about and how well done it is. And it looks like it's really well done, but we'll see.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got me that copy of the Cornette one. I hadn't even thought about it, and then I got it for Christmas one year, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I read it, and I was like, that's actually really good.
I'm going to have to check that out, too.
Yeah, definitely do it. I believe, if I remember right, it's called Behind the Curtain. And it is pure history. I mean, if you read it, the way it's written, you can tell it's written mostly by Cornette and just slightly edited a little bit. And so you instantly start hearing Cornette's voice as you're reading it. And he put jokes and pokes fun at some things, but he's definitely treats all of that with respect, because if it's one thing that he loves, it's that older era of wrestling. He is an aficionado of the old school for certain.
I guess I jumped in the middle. I started talking about Headlock comics, but I never said why I started talking about them. The Stylish Assassin was a character created in the second book.
Oh, yes, I remember your pictures of the Stylish Assassin. The one, loosely based on yourself, correct?
loosely based on myself. And it started off as just a cameo in the book, in the background of, well, not in the background, but it had a brief page or two of the Silent Assassin. And then Michael and I have become friends since then. The Silent Assassin became tag team champions, and then in the last 2 books, he had an actual major storyline where he became the ultimate heel. Oh. And then the story sort of took a different turn in the next book. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, but it really ended on a really good note. And the Silent Assassin will be in the next book. Obviously not the major storyline that we just had, but I'm excited to see where the future coming, because like I said, there's I think 4 books in this series, and they've all been going in a certain direction. And now that storyline's ended, and there's going to be a new storyline. And Michael and I talk many hours on Instagram and through other platforms, and we talk, and he's told me some things about the upcoming books. And I'm really excited for the direction that things are going.
Very cool, very cool. Keep me posted. If there's a good link to find some of these things, let me know, because I'm always down with finding more comics and such. Like, if you send me the link, I'll definitely put it in the show notes and the episode description for people to find. Same thing with, I know you do a lot of Twitch streaming as what is the new name? The
Chosen Outlaw.
There it is, Chosen Outlaw. It was Chosen Outlaw for a while.
Because Jeff Jarrett, I'll just briefly get into this. Originally, when I worked at Disney, our friends and I started calling each other by our favorite wrestlers. So, like, my friend Andre was the Icon because of, actually, at the time, Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I know it's the Icon's thing now, but originally it was Roddy Piper. And then my friend Zach was Big Sexy because he was a Kevin Nash fan, and I was the Jeff Jarrett fan, so I was the chosen one. And there was actually people at Disney that didn't know me by my actual name. They only knew me by Chosen because that's what everyone called me. And then when I came to Twitter and things, people were always the real to distinguish yourself. So then it became the real Chosen one. And that's been going on for about 20 years now. So Jeff Jarrett recently rebranded to The Last Outlaw, and I was in a group for a long time of a WWE game, and we were the Outlaws. So I rebranded to The Chosen Outlaw.
I figured the rebranding to The Chosen Outlaw was more along the lines of the fact you've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption.
And then it ties into Red Dead Redemption now, so it's perfect. I really like it. It's met with a lot of positive feedback, so it's one of those things like we were talking about. I don't know if we talked about it on stream or if it was before stream, but you never want to be complacent. You always want to be moving forward, and something just told me it was time to do it, and I'm glad I did because it's gotten a lot of good feedback, and numbers have been up since we've done it. So
very nice. I know it's one of those things like we were talking about complacency. Like, I've been trying to figure out better things to do. I know we had some pretty decent feedback when we did a watch along episode of Ready to Rumble. Like, not this past summer, but the summer before. I want to do more watch along things for either wrestling related films or older pay-per-views. Just kind of like having a good time watching, giving legit, commentary, but also leaning more into the comedy aspect of it all, because sometimes when you go back and watch some of that old stuff, it is cheesy as hell. But and like there was the match where you had to sit in an electric chair and get electrocuted. Yep.
And there are some cheesy gimmicks that you could absolutely sit there and make.
You just God.
That's actually a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some of that. And then another thing is just to steal a page from the Colt Cabana playbook. Maybe do some Mystery Science Theater 3000 style watch-alongs for some stuff. Do some audio tracks that people can queue up while they watch things. Just some stuff to diversify the portfolio a little bit. Give more depth to the post-to-post brand. It's just like I was saying beforehand, it's an indie operation. Myself, my brother, and some of our friends, we're not like some of the other people that come with ready-made audiences because they transitioned from some other avenue of entertainment, so they were able to like parlay those people into this new venture. It's like we're building it from the ground up, DIY.
Exactly.
Punk rock as fuck.
And you're like me. You're one person, or you have 3 or 4, but that's a small operation, and you have a lot of good ideas, a lot of things to implement, but it's just a matter of getting them done because it's a small time operation. Like you say, you didn't transfer over from pro wrestling or acting or singing with all these people and a large group of staff and things like that, so.
Exactly. It's like I'm happy to have networked and made friends with some of the people that help me do stuff. Falcon, he's a godsend. I'm glad that
We love you, Falcon.
Hey, you already know. You're already in the man's heart right there. He's one of the best, period. I'm glad that I met him through doing this, and I'm super excited. I'll definitely send you a link when it comes up, but we did, over the summer, me and my brother went down because Falcon's located near where we grew up, so we all got together, his crew, and the Polar crew, and the Polar podcast crew, ours, got together and had Game-Ageddon, where it was Post to Post versus and the Polar podcast. So we just had this giant video game tournament all day long. So it was just us getting progressively like more drunk and playing video games the entire day and running capture cards. And I believe there'll be some choice nuggets in there. The only thing that makes me sad, and he told me this, and he'll reiterate it too, is the capture card screwed up when me and their, and often frequent guest here, their wrestling expert Chapel, we were going up against each other in WWF SmackDown 2 for the PlayStation. All the captured stuff for that corrupted. We lost all the footage. I won, but we lost it all.
Sorry, man. No happenings.
I know. Didn't see it. Didn't happen. It's off the record. It's unofficial. It's
unofficial. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Unofficially beat him. I'm an interviewer. I turned this interview around.
I know you.
Now I'm interviewing you.
Sneaky devil.
Yeah. Dang that chosen one.
I've been wanting to get you on here for a while. I know when I asked, what was it, like, I feel like it may have been over the summer or early, and like maybe even the spring of last year. It was just through that time, like, I think maybe you were like recovering from some injury or just real busy. I forget exactly what it was. You probably remember a little bit. I know it was in the old messages from one of the earlier other Instagram accounts, not the main one, but your other one.
Yeah, that's the thing, about everything is it's got to be the right time, and when things are meant to be, they tend to happen, though. And I'm glad I finally got a chance to come on here and get a chance to talk. I mean, this is like nothing. This is like talking, obviously, to one of my good friends, because you're one of my good friends. So This is just, to me, casual, shooting the crap with, with a good friend. So
I know one day maybe I'll have to get the underground crew on here, because I've had the Mad Reaper on here in the past. So maybe one day I'll have to get the both of you on here and just hop out a little bit. But I guess
he's super busy. He's got a lot of good things going on, and he's a new father, so happy for him.
Is he new again, or is it still just the one?
No, just the
one,
first one. But
okay. I wasn't sure if there'd been a second, because I know he's been mad busy. I haven't seen too many posts out of him until just now, and he's still damn near top of the pops. It's crazy.
Yeah, sometimes that real life gets in the way of having fun.
I gotta say that we've hit all the high notes, man. I guess last thing before we exit out, just because it came to mind, any custom wrestling figure cross promotion you got in the works right now? Because I know you definitely like to showcase people and get big groups going.
I'd like to actually do another season of the Custom Underground. I know last season was a little taxing. I don't want to get into too much of the details, but there were a lot of personalities to deal with when you do things like that. I'm sure you can imagine.
Oh yeah, I've participated in all of them. I'm aware.
Yeah, so it got a little much, but I'd like to do another season of that. Actually had a little set up between 14 and DWO, but they've had a little bit of a falling out, so I don't think that's...
I was wondering because, you know, I was part of that one too, and I saw that the conversation just kind of tapered off.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of a falling out, so don't think it's going to happen. It's unfortunate because I would like to do something like that where just two, well, I thought, friendly rivalries kind of, you know, take place and go at it with a team. And, you know, I thought it'd be a little fun, something that people could get into, and especially, you know, pandemic life going on, just take away for a couple hours.
It was broad concept and ambitious, and those are the things that can always turn out really well. But I've learned one thing being in the art field for a long time is friendly competition. It exists, but at the same time, no one, myself included, is more temperamental than an artist.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, I mean, hey, we'll forgive and forget after a little while, but in the moment, if, you know, we feel slighted, you know, that bridge is burnt for a hot minute. And
yeah, we come across that in the Custom Underground.
Everything comes out at some point.
I mean, if you're doing something, if you're creating anything, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a Twitch channel, whether it's a actual art piece, whether it's a custom action figure, you should want to be the very best you can be. And, you know, if someone tells you that you're not, or if something comes up, you know, sometimes that can be a little hard to hear, and, you know, we get a little upset about it.
I know. I get a little grumpy whenever I lose too, but hey, you know, I've done pretty close, and then I've gone out in the first round a couple times. I mean, hey, it's how the cookie crumbles. Over the years, I've gotten to where I just roll with it. The only thing is, if I put a ton of effort into something, it'll burn me out for a little while. But then, you know, I'm just like, hey, you know, I'm going to be back at it. I just got to get the right thing to get those juices flowing again.
The older I get, the more I try to live and let be.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. I roll with the punches for the most part. I don't try to harbor
negative energy is not worth my time. Negative people, you know. Yeah. I am who I am. Hopefully you like me, but if you don't, then that's on you and not on me, because, you know, I'm doing the best I can. Exactly.
That's all you can do. But with that, I'm going to say, man, I appreciate you finally being able to make it on here. It's been a fucking slice.
We love you, Falcon.
Yes, indeed. We love Falcon and the Polar for making it sound good and, you know, doing what they do.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I always love to catch up with you and chat. It's been an amazing time. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. We're going to have to do it more often. Any other time you feel like coming on, shooting the breeze, just let me know. We have a pretty open door policy here at Post to Post. You let me know if you want to be on. We'll have you on, because
I will step through that forbidden door once again.
Excellent. Our forbidden door is more like, come on,
revolving door.
Yeah, exactly.
A revolving forbidden door.
Yes, it's rarely closed. We're the 24/7 convenience store of guests.
That's good. That's good. It should always be opening and welcoming to having new people on and new thoughts and old friends.
Oh yeah, old friends, new friends. I mean, people I've met in Facebook forums. I've had them on. One fellow I had last week who did the episode a couple weeks ago did the episode with me. He's going to come back next week because he's going to the Dynamite tomorrow in Nashville. So I told him, hey man, come on out next week. We'll talk Dynamite. Just trying to get more people in the wrestling community on, so that way it's more than just news. Have some more, opinions and thoughts on things.
My opinion is, to close the show, watch anything that's not WWE. Peace out.
Excellent. All right. And with that, everybody, we'll catch you on the flip again. Thanks to Falcon and Dan the Polar for making it sound good. This has been Post to Post. Bye.